has interviewed the most Carolina Panther players one-on-one that doesn't work for the organization. Yeah, it's me. I'm Chris Jenkins. I'm with Charlotte Vibe, and I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel where each and every week I interview players one-on-one. And the cool thing about it is I always say I work for the fans. So I always take questions from you guys, ideas from you all, and I put that into my interviews with these players every week. And something very fun at the end of the interview is I do an activity like Office Olympics, just something really fun. And I don't always win, but that's not the point. Just so you guys can get a chance to see these players as people, not just as guys with helmets on running around on Sundays. It's really cool. So if I have your interest, please click subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me know what you think. All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, happy game day. What's going on, Colleen and Josh? Keep pounding Panthers. So yes, today the Carolina Panthers have their week 2 matchup where they are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media for Charlotte Vibe, covering the Carolina Panthers, here to get you up to date and give you some tidbits as you prepare to watch this week 2 matchup today with Teddy Bridgewater and Tom Brady. So I want to say, if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, you want to be sure to jump on over to YouTube if you want to interact, engage, and ask me questions. I love having questions from my followers and supporters, so switch on over there. But if you just want to watch and get ready for today, stay on over to Facebook or stay on over on Twitter and watch the broadcast. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some things. And first, we're going to start off with some transactions that the Carolina Panthers have made as they got ready for today's matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's first go with a few transactions that have been made. So players being released from the practice squad this week would have been defensive tackle Miles Adams. He was released from the practice squad. Defensive back TJ Green and guard Aaron Monterio. They were all released from the practice squad this week. Signings this week, and these are just in the past couple of days, so there's been a lot more that has taken place this week, but these are just the last couple of days here. Wide receiver Hakeem Butler was signed to the practice squad. Kicker Kay Forbath was signed to the practice squad. And earlier this week, I reported that the Carolina Panthers were trying out cornerback Tremaine Johnson from the Bills. He has also been signed to the practice squad. And then defensive tackle Woodrow Hamilton, he was activated, from the practice squad to the 53-man this week. Let me get my graphic completely correct here. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. So moving right along, yes, we need this win. So Josh says we need this win. I'm going to get into some of my thoughts about today's game and needing to win it, but I'm going to keep on going through. Locks, man, how you doing? So the Panthers are 0-1, as well as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 0-1. We lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. I struggled saying the name last week and this week, but we lost to the Raiders last week, 30-34. Tampa lost to the New Orleans Saints, 23-34. So let's go ahead and look at a few interesting things that I have gathered for you guys for today's matchup. Let's start off with the sensational running back Christian McCaffrey, who has actually had some pretty good games against Tampa Bay. Man, last year it was great playing Tampa Bay and London, but such a difference in 1 year where we got to travel over to London and watch them take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that great new stadium. And now this year, nobody's traveling hardly anywhere. But nevertheless, Christian McCaffrey has always had some good games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has scored a total of 5 touchdowns. That's 3 rushing and 2 receiving against the Buccaneers in his career, which makes it his most against any NFL team. So also since 2018, he has averaged over 100 yards from scrimmage against the Buccaneers, averaging 107 yards against the Bucs. So things to watch, at least that I'm going to be watching this week as the Panthers play the Buccaneers, will be who's going to step up this week. You know, we've had a lot of new changes, a lot of new people on this team. So last week we got to see Robbie Anderson connect from Teddy Bridgewater for, I believe it was over a 75-yard touchdown. That was great to see. Anytime you see some new talent come to the team, they start to make an impact. You're like, okay, this is building, this is going. And the guy that I want to see next for us will be Ian Thomas on the offensive side. Ian Thomas had some great performances last year in a role where Greg Olsen was out. I know he's been dealing with some injuries and probably is getting up to 100% or as close to 100% as a player can in the NFL during the season. I'd like to see Ian Thomas have a little bit more success this week. Now, he didn't do bad last week. He still had 2 targets and caught both of those passes for about 16 yards. But, you know, I have higher expectations for Ian than he currently has been doing. So I'm going to be watching him closely to see what kind of things that Ian Thomas will show us this week. What's up, Chris Johnson? Appreciate you tuning in, everybody for tuning in. Be sure, if you haven't done so already, to hit that like button. It helps other people find out about what I do covering the Carolina Panthers. It costs you nothing to hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you know when I go live. I will be going live again today after the game to go into some more details and recap analysis, and love to hear from you all about what you thought about the game. So keep that on your radar to do for me in the future. We have a young defense. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this young defense that we have. Last week against the Raiders, we started 3 rookies on defense. That was defensive tackle Derek Brown, linebacker Jeremy Chin, and cornerback Troy Pride Jr. And they all did pretty solid as rookies in their first home opener. And then we also got some action from Yetur Gross-Matos, who's going to be out with a concussion this week. And he also finished with 1 tackle last week. Defensive tackle Bravian Roy, he also tallied 2 tackles. Those are some of our rookies that got some action last week as starters on the defensive side. Another item that I want to share with you guys is, so far, how are we doing this season, right? You know, on the defensive side, we got a young group, so it's going to take some time for that group to gel and start to get turnovers, start to get into some top 10 rankings, just really gel together. Don't have any top 10 rankings yet that our defense has gotten into, but guess what? We have gotten a few on the offensive side for some top 10 rankings this year. So total yards per game, we're not doing too bad. Had 388 last week, so that leaves us with a number 9 ranking overall in the league this year. Sacks allowed, Bridgewater only sacked 1 time last week, so we're ranking 4th currently in the NFL. Third down efficiency, 53.8, ranking 4th. Points per game, I was extremely happy with the amount of points and the way that we moved the ball last week. We currently rank 8th with that 30 points that we scored last week. No defensive top 10 rankings so far. So that is, again, we got a young team. I like to say no big deal there. Sorry for going black for a second. But those are our current offensive rankings. Got a few top 10s and no currently defensive rankings on the top 10. Do want to share this though. Did you know? This is something to be looking for today. Bet you don't know who is the number 10 in total yards receiving for the Carolina Panthers. That would be Ted Ginn, who has 2,047 yards. DJ Moore, and what is his 3rd year with the team? He only needs 31 receiving yards today to pass Ted Ginn 10th all-time receiving yards. So look for that to happen. I feel pretty good about DJ having a chance to climb into the top 10. That'll be a good congratulations for DJ, as we hope that he's going to be around, good number 1 receiver for us for years and years to come. Forgot to show a graphic for that. You guys want to see that graphic real quick? Boom, there it is. All right, and then I got one more thing that I want to share with you guys today. Players to watch. We've talked about the guy that I'm going to be looking for on the offensive side for the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be Ian Thomas. What things do you need to be looking for on the other end, defense and offensive side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? So obviously they're led by quarterback Tom Brady. you want to be looking at him to see what he's going to do. You know, it's his second game with the Bucs. He didn't win that first one at New Orleans, so you got to think that Tom's going to be laser focused, which he always is, in this matchup, and looking to get into the positive column today for a win. Ronald Jones the third for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's their running back, third-year guy at USC, did a lot of good things last week. And so he's going to be looking to build on his performance. So that's going to be a guy that you got to watch out for on the Tampa Bay that could do some damage to us. We allowed a hat trick to Las Vegas last week, running back with 3 touchdowns. So you hope that we can shore that up. But Jones is going to be hoping that he can continue that streak that was started last week. And on the defensive side, they really got a really good linebacker core. They got a good defense overall. But their tackling machine, their linebacker, Devin White, that's a guy that you want to watch for on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side in terms of seeing, you know, can we contain him? Will he step up? Be a good matchup to see how he plays against Christian McCaffrey today. So last thing I want to get into, give me a second here, will be our inactives and our actives for today. And then I'll give a few more thoughts about the matchup for today. All right, so in no particular order, quarterback Will Grier is going to be inactive today. So what does that mean? That means P.J. Walker today is active for the first time for the Carolina Panthers. He is our number 2 quarterback. Cornerback Stanley Thomas Oliver is inactive. Defensive end Sharif Miller. Guard Dennis Daly. That's no surprise that he is inactive as he has been dealing with an injury. Next few are no surprises. Defensive end Yetur Gross-Matos, who has a concussion. He is inactive for today. Defensive tackle Kawan Short is also inactive today. No surprise there about those last few, as those guys were having some injuries. Let me go ahead and give you all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers inactives as well. Defensive tackle Khalil Davis, outside linebacker Cam Gill, wide receiver Chris Godwin. That information came out yesterday that Chris Godwin will be inactive today for Tampa. So Tom is going to have one less weapon today. Their quarterback Ryan Griffin, wide receiver Tyler Johnson, cornerback Parnell Motley, as well as guard Aaron Stiney. Those are the inactives for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this game kicks off here just about in 1 hour down in Tampa. Predictions for the game. I don't go into predictions, but I just talk about vibes here for the game. I think this could be a tough one for us, a pretty tough one, just as we go on the road for the first time. Granted, we don't have a lot of fans. They don't have that momentum to get behind. But I think this could be a tough one. I would like to see this be, as long as we're competitive and just not get blown out of the water, I would feel good about the growth of this team. Now, do I hope we win? Absolutely hope we win. Look forward to seeing some new things as the players get more accustomed to Coach Rule and the offensive and defensive coordinator. So looking for a competitive game. I feel like if we can keep this game close through the first half, we'll be able to be competitive throughout this entire game and give ourselves a chance to win. So appreciate you tuning in for this pregame show. Each and every Sunday or each and every day that they have a game, I'm going to have this pregame show, so I invite you to tune in and watch. Tell me your questions. Tell me what you see. Tell me what you want to do. And look forward to seeing you shortly. So signing off for now, Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.